What is dysgraphia? Dysgraphia is a language disorder that affects your ability to communicate clearly and accurately using written language. Dysgraphia is a neurological disorder of written expression that impairs writing ability and fine motor skills. It is a learning disability that affects children and adults and interferes with practically all aspects of the writing process, including spelling, legibility, word spacing and sizing, and expression. How is dysgraphia identified? Similar to the assessment process of dyslexia, an assessment for dysgraphia involves careful consideration of the individual's learning strengths and weaknesses, their educational history, the extent of their spelling and expressive writing difficulties, and what impact targeted remediation and support has had on their current academic achievement levels. Educational psychologists use a series of tests to determine if a person has dysgraphia. These tests often include measures of rapid automatized naming, spelling, orthographic processing, expressive writing, working memory, and overall cognitive ability. Supporting people with dysgraphia, there are many ways to help a person with dysgraphia achieve success. Each type of strategy should be considered when planning instruction and support. A person with dysgraphia will benefit from help from both specialists and those who are closest to the person. Some example supports for dysgraphia include allowing extra time to complete written tasks, utilizing assistive technology such as voice to text software to remove the burden of handwriting, use of a scribe, providing templates and more scaffolding for written tasks, explicit instruction in phonics and spelling, reducing the amount of written work that needs to be completed, allowing alternative assessment practices such as oral assessments and presentations. What are the warning signs of dysgraphia? Just having bad handwriting doesn't mean a person has dysgraphia. Since dysgraphia is a processing disorder, difficulties can change throughout a lifetime. However, since writing is a developmental process, children learn the motor skills needed to write while learning the thinking skills needed to communicate on paper. Difficulties can also overlap tight, awkward pencil grip and body position, illegible handwriting, avoiding writing or drawing tasks, tiring quickly while writing, saying words out loud while writing, unfinished or omitted words in sentences, difficulty organizing thoughts on paper, difficulty with the syntax structure and grammar, large gap between written ideas and understanding demonstrated through speech.
Thank you and good afternoon. We'll go over our Wednesday topic, dysgraphia. Dysgraphia is a type of learning disability affecting the ability to write letters and words on paper, to understand relationships between sounds, spoken words, and written letters. In the language of federal special education regulations, dysgraphia is considered a subtype of specific learning disability, specifically disability in written expression. There is no cure, and get ready for school to be hard because it's going to be hard. There are also possibilities of you having dyslexia or dyscalculia. We've talked about dyslexia. We will also talk about dyscalculia in our series of podcasts. Misconception about people with dysgraphia. I have much more difficulty with writing than others, but their ability in other areas may be average or better. They are at risk for being seen as lazy, carelessness with their work because of their frustration, figurative and experience putting self-effort that takes from them to completing easy tasks. Educators must provide positive learning experience to help them maintain their self-esteem and motivation. This is not true because, in fact, in my opinion, they have faced adversity, so they are more likely to try harder. Me as well. I am one of the hardest workers they have ever seen, many people say. Testing is a comprehensive psychology and education evaluation can assist the diagnosis of dysgraphia and diagnostic when writing tests can be used to determine if the learned writing skills are normal for their age. Tests can also provide information on their writing process. Make sure tests are very important for mind. In instruction and therapy, educators a variety of methods develop students' individual education program. IEP typically focuses on fine motor skills and hand condition, miscalcular memory. Language therapy and an occupational therapist help them learning develop important connection between the letters and sounds. Some students work best with keyboard or speech recognition. Fine motor skills I struggle with as well. What do you do about dysgraphia? If you believe your children has dysgraphia, it may be learning disability, contact your school principal for your information how to request an assessment. For students in college vocational programs, their school advising can assist with finding resources to help ensure their success. Now we move on to that topic. The sources that we used for that topic was very well family member, was very well family. Now we move on to Chris Jones. Chris Jones continues to hold out. At this point, I'm ready to trade him. If he's not going to be there for 8 weeks, I've given all the thoughts I can give. He's spoiled if you like. He says money's not a problem. Well, then why are you holding out? Look at Chris Jones, the second best defensive tackle, not as good as Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's a Hall of Famer. People think they're better than they are in this world of 2023, i.e. Donald Trump. Royals news. So after, I wanted a stadium downtown, but I have decided I will be more likely to pass in North Kansas City. Simply, I think the Royals will get more votes. And for this team to stay in Kansas City or stay in the Kansas City, I don't care which stadium it is. I just want the Royals to stay. People will say the Royals won't move. What happened? The Rams moved. I don't think the Royals want to move. Do you? Well, being downtown, I think the chances will be higher than if they put them in North Kansas City and could build more things at North Kansas City over this. This is my spiel over this. Here's pictures for the stadium.
Ballpark sites, 2 different visions, and 1 big-time decision. Kansas City Royals today released renderings of what their ballpark districts could look like in downtown and in Northtown.
So Royals executives presented each of those plans at Kauffman Stadium earlier today. That's where we find Fox Sports' Jonathan Katz joining us now to explain how the plans differ. John?
Yeah, that's right, Lauren and John. The team presented each and explained why they would be transformational, in their words, for each of the neighborhoods that they would go in. But they still have a lot of work to do before they would break ground at either site. Here's the video showcasing the East Village Ballpark District in Kansas City, Missouri. It sits on 12th Street to the south, 8th Street on the north, and on the east side of this picture is 71 Highway, the east end of the downtown loop. This site is 27 acres.
Included in it is and you'll see on the screen there also is that the one is where the Royals Park would be located. Along with it would be a corporate office, team offices in center field, which is number 2.
Here's the video showcasing the Crown District, or the site in North Kansas City. That current site is near 18th and Fayette. Arbor Road sits on the north. This site is 90 acres.
It includes a hotel and a exhibition center in the outfield. It also includes Armour Street performance venue, so we are putting a separate 4,000 person performance venue along Armour Street.
The team's president of business operations was asked about leaving Jackson County early if they were serious about this North Kansas City site, especially because their lease at the Truman Sports Complex runs through the 2030 baseball season.
We won't break the lease. That's not part of the consideration. What is part of the consideration is a negotiation. There's a number of parties involved here, not the least of which is the Chiefs, our partners across the parking lot. We're not going to speak for them, but they're a part of this. If we were to go to Clay County's in the mix. Jackson County would have to be in there. So it's a negotiation. We have no thought of breaking the lease whatsoever. That's a negotiation.
The team still plans to make their decision at the end of next month, although Executive Vice President Sarah Tourville did say late today that decision could change in the future. We're live tonight in Kansas City. I'm Jonathan Ketz, Fox 4, working for you.
There will also be more room for the stadium and parking. The Royals at North Kansas City have 90 acres. Amber Road South between 16th Street and I-29 East Street. At downtown, it'll be 27 acres, located just blocks from T-Mobile Center and Power and Light. The 27 acres in downtown is dense and would require a more vertical building than in North Kansas City, according to the Royals. That's Sam Vaughn. That's also Sam Vaughn Smack. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report.